Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into something fascinating. The AI artist.
Yeah, looking at all the ripples, right? The ethics, the philosophy, even the economics in creative fields.
Exactly. Our mission, as always, is to unpack the key stuff from the sources you shared. We want to get a handle on how AI is, well, shaking up how we think about creativity.
Challenging things, but maybe augmenting them too.
That's the big question, isn't it? Is AI just another tool for you, the creator, to, push the envelope?
Or is it becoming something else? A competitor, maybe? Changing the whole game of what it means to be an artist?
It's a lot to unpack.
It really is. And what's so interesting here, I think, is how this whole AI artist thing forces us to look again at basic ideas, like what is art? Who's the author? What's creative value mean now?
Right. It's definitely more complicated than just humans versus machines.
Much more, yeah. It's about how the whole creative landscape might be shifting.
Okay, so diving into the sources, one point that always sparks debate is this idea of soul in art.
Ah, yes. The classic critique.
We hear it all the time. AI art just doesn't have a soul. But one perspective in the materials sort of push back on that.
Suggesting maybe soul is just a human label we use to keep new things out?
Kind of, yeah. But looking at the other side, what was the core argument against AI really creating art based on the sources?
Well, if we look at the philosophy side, your sources brought up Leo Tolstoy. Remember his big essay from 1898, What is Art?
Vaguely. Refresh my memory.
His whole thing was that real art transmits genuine feelings the artist has actually lived through. It has to infect you with that feeling.
Okay, so the artist needs personal experience.
Exactly. And AI doesn't have life experiences, no emotions. So Tolstoy would argue it can only copy the look of art, the form.
But not the function, that emotional communication bit.
Precisely. It might write technically perfect poetry, like mimicking Gerard Manley Hopkins, apparently.
Wow, okay.
But it's a clever imitation, right? It misses that personal spark, that lived depth that makes human art resonate.
I get that. Tolstoy's argument feels powerful. But then what about the human director? Couldn't your prompt, your choices be the new way of expressing intent?
Like the film director guiding the crew.
Yeah. If you're the one making the aesthetic calls, refining things with the AI, isn't that your vision? Where does the human creativity fit if not there?
And that leads us straight into the legal mess, doesn't it?
Oh boy, yeah. Who owns this stuff?
Big question. In the U.S., the sources are clear. Copyright needs human authorship.
Meaning AI alone can't get copyright.
Right. You need substantial human creative input. Just prompting probably isn't enough. It's more about how you select, arrange, or modify the AI output.
So that piece, the portrait of Edmund de Bellamy, the one that sold for a fortune at Christie's.
$432,500, yeah. That sale threw gasoline on the fire, didn't it? Huge debate about who the real author was, who should own it.
And it's not just the U.S. grappling with this. Your sources showed it's like totally different everywhere.
A real patchwork. China's apparently more open, seeing AI as a tool where, human iteration can lead to originality.
But then you have the EU and South Korea being much stricter.
Much stricter. They want the work to reflect the author's personality or convey human thoughts and emotions.
Yeah.
Very different bars to clear.
Okay, so we've got the philosophy, the legal tangle. What about the money? The economic reality for creatives listening?
Yeah, that's a huge concern. Our job's at risk.
Could companies just go for the fast, cheap AI content and, well, undercut human artists?
It's a definite possibility. And this tension AI as helpful tool versus AI as maybe a job threat, you see it everywhere. Music is a great example.
How so?
Well, on one hand, AI helped restore Randy Travis's voice after his stroke, let him release a new song. That's clearly augmentation, right? Helping him create.
That's amazing.
But then you get the flip side. Someone clones Tupac Shakur's voice without permission for a Drake track. Instantly shows the potential for exploitation.
Right, the darker side. And there was something else weird in the studies, an AI bias.
Yeah, isn't that fascinating? Some big AI language models seem to actually prefer stuff written by other AIs.
Wait, really? Like they recognize their own kind?
It seems that way.
Yeah.
Regardless of what humans think is good quality.
Yeah.
It could create this weird feedback loop, shaping what kind of content gets promoted.
That's honestly a bit chilling. The idea that your work might need an AI's approval first.
Some are calling it a gate tax.
A gate tax. You mean you have to run your human creation through an AI just to get it seen?
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah.
In a world filtered by algorithms, you might have to make your work fit what the AI likes, conforming human creativity to the machine.
Wow. Okay, so wrapping this up, after digging through all these sources, what's the big picture? Is it doom and gloom or...
I don't think it's necessarily zero-sum, humans versus machines. The takeaway seems to be that the really valuable stuff, the truly impactful creative work in the future,
Yeah.
it'll probably blend human intention, human emotion with the incredible power of these AI tools. It's about using them to boost the human element, not erase it.
So for you listening, thinking about your own creative path, what does all this mean?
It means your uniquely human qualities, your life experiences, your gut feelings, your empathy.
The things the algorithm can't copy.
Exactly. Those are your superpowers now. They're your most critical assets.
Yeah.
The tech should be serving your spirit, not the other way around.
That's a powerful thought. So maybe a final challenge for everyone listening.
Go for it.
Try creating something physical. Use your hands, paint, clay, whatever, something you can't just undo.
Get messy.
Yeah. Reflect on that process. The tactile, maybe frustrating, but ultimately satisfying human way of making things. It's a good reminder of what makes your art, your voice, truly unique. Welcome to the deep dive. You know, there are these concepts, sometimes straight out of science fiction, and you almost dismiss them. But lately, I've been really thinking about one that's, well, it's shifting fast. From fiction to something very real, the personal digital twin. So today, we're doing a deep dive. What is it? Where did it come from? And, you know, what are the big questions here? Okay, so let's get grounded. For those tracking this, maybe a quick refresher. For everyone else, what is a personal digital twin? Imagine a dynamic virtual you, a doppelganger, but not static, not like an avatar you designed for a game. This is a living, data-driven simulation, constantly updated, real time. We're talking fitness data, health records, location, online stuff, sleep patterns, everything. It's meant to accurately mirror your physical self, continuously learning as you learn, changing as you change.
Right. And that distinction, it's absolutely critical. Many people think metaverse avatar, that's, chosen. Persona for social interaction, you pick the look, the style, it's creative, maybe some artistic license there, but often very little real-time connection to your actual physical biological self. A personal digital twin, though, that's completely different. It's a tool, a highly sophisticated one, built for deep simulation, analysis, prediction. It's meticulously mirroring your physical self using this constant stream of live data. Less about how you want to look, much more about how you are, and maybe how you will be.
That makes perfect sense. Okay, so if it's not just a fancy avatar, what's actually making this leap possible right now? What's driving it? For me, it seems to point to one massive thing, data. Just the sheer mind-boggling amount of personal data we're all generating. Think about it. Global data projected 181 zettabytes by end of 2025.
It's incredible.
A zettabyte, that's a billion terabytes, like storing, 20 trillion HD movies? It's huge. And here's the real kicker. Maybe 90% of all data generated in just the last 2 years, it's not just more data, it's the detail, right? The real-time integration. Smartwatches, sensors, maybe even advanced genomic profiles. It all feeds in. That's what allows this high-fidelity digital mirror. It feels like a culmination.
Precisely. And, connecting this back, the idea isn't brand new out of nowhere.
Yeah.
The concept, the digital twin itself, it draws heavily from industry, its predecessors.
Oh, right.
For years, companies have used digital twins to optimize, say, jet engines, factory floors, running simulations, predicting wear, improving efficiency. That's established.
Okay.
But the leap to a personal twin, that really is driven by this perfect storm you mentioned.
Yeah.
Hyperconnectivity, tiny biometric sensors, always on. And these incredible leaps in AI that can actually process this flood of data.
But not just problems.
Learn from it, see patterns, make predictions, things we couldn't do before. It's the convergence. And it means you, the individual, are kind of the next frontier.
So this data explosion, it's not just enabling it technically. It's the actual raw material. It breathes life into these digital counterparts. But like any tech this big, there's always a flip side, isn't there? The value is immense. We see that. But it often comes paired with, equally immense risks.
Absolutely. When you think about the potential here, it's a pivotal moment, truly double-edged. In our relationship with AI, it's huge value modeling, predicting health, behavior, preferences. It all comes from that deep data connection.
Yeah.
Imagine, just hypothetically, a twin noticing tiny shifts, sleep, heart rate variability, maybe even search history.
Yeah.
And flagging the early onset of something serious weeks before symptoms appear. Giving you a window for prevention. That's the incredible upside.
Yeah.
But the exact data giving that power in the wrong hands, significant risks. We're talking profound threats to privacy, not just what companies know now, but what your twin could infer. Really intimate future details, health, emotional state, financial stability, maybe. Then there's security. What if a twin gets hacked, manipulated? Could it influence real-world decisions, financial moves, and ultimately, personal autonomy? If algorithms start predicting or, nudging your behavior based on this digital self, in ways you don't fully see or control, who's really making the calls then?
Those are incredibly serious points. It really makes you stop and think about the ethical ground shifting under our feet. It makes us examine our whole relationship with the digital world, doesn't it? So as we wrap up this deep dive, we want to leave you, the listener, with a couple of thoughts to chew on. Think about it. Every click, every step, every interaction, you're building this intricate digital footprint daily. So what would a digital twin of you actually look like? What would it capture? And maybe reflect on this. What are your hopes and, your fears for a future where you might actually have one, guiding you or maybe nudging you? Something to consider. Welcome back to The Deep Dive. Today, we're plunging into something that's, really reshaping things. AI's impact on law and justice. It's quite the unfolding story.
It really is. And it's fascinating because you see this dual vision, right? There's huge promise, but also, frankly, significant peril. Our goal today is to help you get a handle on that whole picture.
Yeah, promise and peril. Let's maybe start with the promise. It's easy to focus on the dangers, but what's the upside here for efficiency?
Right. Well, the immediate impact is speed and automation. Think legal research, e-discovery. AI can just churn through enormous data sets.
Finding the key sources, avoiding missing that crucial document.
Exactly. And not just research. Drafting initial documents, pleadings, contracts. Proofreading, too. Spotting errors in seconds that a human might easily overlook.
Summarizing long texts, that kind of thing.
Precisely. And there's this statistic floating around. AI could potentially free up something like 240 hours per year for each legal professional.
Wow, 240 hours.
Yeah.
That's substantial.
It's huge. But it's not just about saving time, you see. It's about changing the nature of the work.
How so?
Well, it's not about replacing lawyers. It's about empowering them, letting them operate at a higher level.
So less drudgery, more strategy.
Exactly. More creative thinking, more client interaction, focusing on those uniquely human skills. It shifts the focus from just finding information to critically analyzing it.
Okay, so that's the bright side. But you mentioned peril. Let's pivot to the darker side, the ethical knots and legal challenges.
Right. And this is where it gets tricky. A major one is algorithmic bias.
Bias built into the system.
Often, yeah. It learns from historical data, and if that data reflects past injustices, the AI can, perpetuate them, sometimes without anyone intending it to.
And we've even heard about this weird AI biases.
Studies showing AI preferring content generated by other AIs. That could create real disadvantages, like a sort of gate tax for humans in things like hiring.
Okay, so bias is one thing. What else?
Then there's the black box problem. We often don't know how an AI reached its decision.
Which is a huge issue in law, right? Transparency, due process.
Absolutely. It conflicts directly with those principles. It's a bit like that old clever Hans effect, the horse that seemed to do math but was just reading cues. The AI might give the right answer, but for completely opaque or even wrong reasons.
You can't cross-examine an algorithm easily.
Exactly. And this opacity feeds into another risk. Human over-reliance. Automation bias.
Where people just trust the machine too much?
Yeah, they stop thinking critically, stop using their own judgment. Core professional skills could actually atrophy over time.
Is there a concrete example of this going wrong?
Oh, definitely. The Mata v. Avianca case out of New York is pretty stark.
What happened there?
A lawyer used ChatGPT for legal research, tried to be efficient, but the AI just made things up.
Made things up, like fake cases.
Completely fabricated precedents, fake citations, the works. The judge was understandably not impressed. Dismissed the case, fined the lawyer, and the judge explicitly called it part of an epidemic of AI failures. It's a harsh lesson, but it hammers home the accountability. It still rests entirely with the human professional.
That's a huge wake-up call, that responsibility gap.
Yeah.
It really highlights why you need that human in the loop, doesn't it? It can't just be automated decision-making.
Absolutely critical. Oversight is non-negotiable.
So, wrapping this up, what's the takeaway? Is it human versus machine?
No, I don't think so. The future isn't AI replacing lawyers. It's more like a discerning partnership. Human expertise guiding machine intelligence.
Augmentation, not substitution.
Precisely. But getting there requires real effort. We need robust ethical guidelines, lawyers need continuous education on these tools, and we definitely need thoughtful regulation to make sure AI actually serves justice, not undermines it.
A careful balance, then.
Definitely. Which leads to maybe a final thought for you, our listener, to chew on.
As AI gets woven deeper into, well, everything we do, what responsibility do you have to understand what it can and can't do? And how will you make sure that human judgment, ethics, and accountability stay central to the tools you use and interact with every day?
Okay, so when you think about China's social credit system, what's the first image that pops into your head? For a lot of us, I bet it's that kind of chilling dystopian thing, right? Like one single all-powerful score that decides everything about your life, travel, jobs, the whole deal. But what if I told you that image, that common idea, is mostly, well, a myth?
It really is, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That picture of one big omnipresent score, it's compelling, but it's not quite the reality on the ground. There was actually a report from Merrick's a couple of years back that laid it up pretty clearly. It described the system as lowly digitalized, highly fragmented, and interestingly, mostly focused on businesses.
Lowly digitalized, fragmented. That's not the sleek, high-tech control system we usually hear about. So forget the single Big Brother algorithm. It's more like a messy collection of lists.
Exactly. Think decentralized. Lots of different blacklists and red lists, too, run by various government bits and pieces, even some private players.
Huh. Okay, so if it's this fragmented, kind of complex thing, what was the push behind it? Why did China feel they needed something like this in the first place?
Well, stepping back a bit, China saw it as a way to tackle a really deep problem they had with public trust. This was after all the rapid economic changes. You had major food safety scandals, remember those? Corruption was a big issue, labor problems. People were losing faith. So the idea behind the SES, from their perspective, was to kind of engineer social order using data.
Right, rebuilding trust through tracking, essentially.
Sort of, yeah. And it's interesting, they also connected back to much older ideas, deep historical roots. Things like, Confucianism and its focus on social harmony, but also legalism with its really strict laws, even Mohism, ancient philosophy meeting modern tech.
That's fascinating. Did it start out this broad, though, this whole social credit idea? Or did it maybe grow out of something simpler like financial credit scores?
It definitely evolved. The initial spark, yeah, it came from looking at Western financial models, things like FICO scores, that kind of system.
Yep.
But then it expanded pretty quickly, actually. It became this much broader social concept. And in practice, how it works day to day, it's not about one member. It's this framework of rewards and, crucially, punishments.
Punishments like? What gets you on the wrong side of these lists?
All sorts of things, really. Obvious stuff like not paying your debts, but also things like giving an insincere apology in court that actually happened, or, spreading rumors online. Even smaller things, sometimes like littering in certain cities.
An insincere apology. Wow. Okay, and the flip side, how do you get points or stay off the blacklist?
Or things like donating blood, that's often mentioned, caring for elderly relatives, praising the government online sometimes gets noted. It's a mix.
So positive actions get rewarded, but the consequences for being blacklisted, they found serious. You mentioned specific examples.
Oh, absolutely. They can be severe and very targeted.
Yeah.
There was this businessman, Xi, blacklisted over an unpaid debt. The result, he couldn't buy airline tickets, couldn't get on high-speed trains, basically grounded, which for a businessman...
Yeah, that cripples you.
Totally. Or in another case, a lawyer, Li Shelin, blocked from travel again, flights and trains, because a court deemed his apology insincere. So you see, it's not one score affecting everything equally. It's specific punishments coming from different government bodies based on these lists.
It sounds powerful, but also maybe opaque. Hard to navigate.
Very opaque.
Yeah.
And that's part of the point, arguably. This fragmented system, it creates this really potent, often hidden tool for governance. It lets the state use data to nudge or maybe shove behavior in certain directions. Some academics call it a data state. It definitely raises questions about individual autonomy.
Okay, but let's pause there for a second. This whole idea of using data to assess people, to influence behavior, It's not just a China story, is it? We have systems here in the West, too.
Absolutely right. The core idea isn't unique. I mean, we mentioned its inspiration came partly from Western financial credit scores like FICO. That's assessing risk based on data. And beyond finance, look at private companies now. In the U.S., in Europe, using AI, big data. Think about insurance. Your car insurance premium based on how you drive, tracked by an app.
Right, or screening job applicants based on their online footprint.
Exactly. These systems are already affecting what you might call societal privileges. Access to loans, jobs, insurance rates. The big difference, of course, is who's running the show. In China, it's primarily state-driven top-down control. In the West, it's mostly private companies, driven by profit.
So state control versus corporate control.
Yeah, but the underlying logic,
Right.
this process of datafication, turning our lives into data points, using algorithms to sort and manage us, that's happening everywhere. It's a universal cautionary tale, really. Algorithmic control is a risk, regardless of whether it's the government or a corporation pulling the levers.
That's a really crucial point. It's not just about them over there. It's about the technology and the choices we make everywhere. So, looking at the social credit system, not as the myth, but this complex reality, what does it teach us? What's the takeaway for the future?
I think the SCS, in all its messiness and complexity, is a vital case study for every society grappling with datafication. It highlights the profound implications. And like that book AI 2041 suggests, the future we get isn't predetermined. It's a choice, not an inevitability.
A choice we have to make actively.
Precisely. It means all countries, all of us, need to really think about and set clear ethical lines, legal boundaries for how data is collected, how it's used. Because if we don't have that deliberation, the lines between private data collection and public use just keep blurring. And you could end up with a loss of personal autonomy that's just as deep, whether you call it a digital leviathan or something else.
So the challenge for you listening is maybe to reflect on that. Think about the data you're already sharing every day with companies, with governments. What are its potential uses or misuses? What kind of future do you want to build with this powerful technology? Because the path isn't set. It really is a choice we're making right now.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're plunging into something that feels, well, increasingly real, the AI boss. We got thinking about this after reading AI 2041, which paints this picture, of AI handling tasks, reviews, everything. And it really brings up this core tension, doesn't it? This drive for optimization versus keeping things human at work. Okay, let's dig into this.
Yeah, what's fascinating here is getting clear on what AI boss even means. It's not really one thing. It's what we call algorithmic management. Basically, a system. Data-driven algorithms, AI, automating or helping with manager stuff, things like coordinating workflow, checking performance, sometimes even, penalties, all for hyper-efficiency, really, and scale.
Right, efficiency. And the promise there is huge, isn't it? Unprecedented precision. Like imagine an AI predicting machine failure before it breaks down, then just automatically setting up the repair.
Yeah.
That's a total shift from just reacting. It feels worlds away from old management styles, but I guess how different is it? Is there a historical parallel here?
That's a really good question. It does make you think of Frederick Winslow Taylor. Taylorism back in the early 20th century. Taylorism kind of notoriously saw people as, well, programmable machines. Break down the task, maximize the output. But here's the fundamental difference, and it's profound. Scientific management saw humans as programmable, right? Algorithmic management sees machines as capable of learning. So it's not just controlling labor anymore. It's about dynamically optimizing this whole system, humans and machines together. And crucially, this stuff goes way beyond the old office walls. Think about the gig economy, It blurs those lines, creates new kinds of oversight.
That distinction, machines learning versus humans as machines, that's powerful. But isn't there still a risk that even with learning systems, algorithmic management just becomes a new, maybe sneakier way to control people, especially, like you said, in that blurred gig world?
Oh, absolutely. And when you look at the human side of it, well, the reality can be tough. Constant algorithmic tracking, it often ramps up stress. It definitely reduces autonomy, that feeling of control. There was actually a study, Liu and others in 2024 found that these algorithms can dull workers' ability to improvise, that knack for thinking on your feet, adapting, which is so vital for solving real problems, for innovation. It's a serious trade-off.
And that lack of autonomy, that stress, it leads straight into what people call the empathy gap, right? AI systems, they're powerful tools, no doubt. But empathy, emotional nuance, building those high-quality connections, those trusting relationships, AI just can't do that.
Exactly. And that lack of genuine connection, even if the manager is an algorithm, can really lead to disengagement, burnout even. It can undermine the very creativity and teamwork companies say they want.
I see, but couldn't you argue? Couldn't the perfectly rational, unbiased AI, precisely because it lacks emotion, make fairer decisions sometimes, avoid human favoritism, that sort of thing?
It's a tempting idea, isn't it? The neutral machine. But the reality is trickier. We've seen examples, right? Like the early Amazon resume tool issues. Bias gets baked in. And it's not always obvious stuff like bad training data. Sometimes it's the proxies we use, things that seem neutral, like using zip codes, maybe. They can carry all sorts of hidden demographic, socioeconomic biases. So you end up encoding inequality without even meaning to.
Wow, yeah, that's subtle but really important. How bias just creeps in. And it sort of connects to this paradox of AI hype too, doesn't it? You hear about these amazing AI capabilities, but then an MIT study finds, 95% of generative AI projects aren't hitting major revenue goals.
Right, and there's often this verification tax. The AI does something, but then a human has to spend time checking it meticulously. Where's the efficiency gain then? Look at Klarna. They cut staff, brought in AI, then ended up rehiring people. It suggests AI's real strength, right now anyway, is helping humans, augmenting them, not just replacing them wholesale.
So it's not quite the magic wand some thought, maybe like the early internet. Huge potential, but it took time, lots of trial and error, to figure out the best uses. Is that fair?
I think that's a very apt parallel. It really highlights the shift in thinking. We're moving away from just AI replacing jobs towards augmented intelligence.
Yeah.
Kai-Fu Lee said it well. AI won't replace humans, but humans who use AI will replace those who don't.
It's about synergy. Think of a doctor, right? Using an AI diagnostic tool. Together, they can achieve much more than either one alone.
Okay, so it's about working with the AI.
Exactly. And if you connect that to the bigger picture, it really shines a light on what becomes more valuable. The uniquely human skills. Things like emotional intelligence, creativity, making judgments based on context, just plain common sense. AI struggles there. And these skills become absolutely critical, not just for your own career, but for making sure these AI systems are used fairly, that someone's accountable. So wrapping this up, what does this all mean for you listening right now, trying to navigate this future? It seems the AI boss is a tool, a powerful one, sure, but something to be leveraged, not, a master to serve. It feels like we need this dual embrace, welcoming the tech, definitely, but holding tight to our shared humanity.
I think that's spot on. If I had to boil it down to one core idea for everyone thinking about this AI future, it's that we are creating it. It's going to reflect the choices we make, the actions we take right now. And maybe our greatest assets won't be technical skills alone, but those human qualities, empathy, creativity, finding meaning in work beyond just pure optimization. What stands out to you?
That's a great point to end on. And for your own deep dive, maybe think about this. Chat with a colleague. What skills do you both believe will be most vital for humans in the workplace over, say, the next 10 years?
That's all for this episode of the Deep Dive Cast. Thanks for joining us. We hope you gained some valuable insights. Be sure to tune in next time for another deep dive into the world's best ideas. Until then, keep learning and growing.